Dillian, the body snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Alrighty then, so the WBC have announced their new rankings up and down the weight divisions, of course, but in this video we'll be talking about the heavyweight division. So I'm going to go through the top 15, see what changes have been made compared to last month, see what fights recently happened to make those changes, what fights are coming up, have a bit of an overall chat about it and all that good stuff. So if you are a boxing fan and you are clicking onto this video, thank you very much and welcome. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Okay, so here's the new top 15 for the WBC. Starting off with the WBC heavyweight world champion, Tyson Fury. Number 1, Deontay Wilder. Number 2, Andy Ruiz Jr. Number 3, Anthony Joshua. Number 4, Aleksandar Filipovic. Number 5, Frank Sanchez. Number 6, Dillian Whyte. Number 7, Jared Anderson. Number 8, Bacoli. Number 9, Zan Kosabuski. Number 10, Joseph Parker. Number 11, Otto Wallin. Number 12, Ajit Kabayel. Number 13, Luis Ortiz. Number 14, F.A. Jagba. And number 15, Filipovic. So that's the top 15 for the month of July from the WBC. Dropped out this month, Joyce. He was in at number 10 last month, but now he's been dropped altogether. One of two reasons, in my opinion, will be why Joyce has been dropped. Is either A, he's not signed up to the WBC clean boxing program, i.e. VADA, or it could be because he's activated the rematch clause against Zhilei Zhang, which would be for the WBO interim World Heavyweight Championship. I've got a feeling it's that. Now, before we go through it, is there any real point? I will go through it, but is there any real point? Because all these fellas that you're seeing on your screen right now are all paying their sanctioning fees. They're all paying for VADA testing to be part of the clean boxing program. So they can actually be ranked in the top 15 on WBC. But not one of them is being allowed to have a voluntary title defense against Tyson Fury, the current champion, because he's off gallivanting fighting Francis Ngannou. And the WBC are letting him get away with it. Not only that, the WBC called for the mandatory back in November. Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz Jr. And they've done nothing about it. So, my question to anybody ranked in this top 15 is, why are you paying your sanctioning fees? For what reason? Anyway, now, the fresh insert for this month is Filipovic. He's in at number 15. He hasn't had a fight since he defeated Zhilei Zhang back in Saudi Arabia on the Anthony Joshua Aleksandar Usyk Part 2 undercard, where he got a controversial decision over Zhilei Zhang. But Filipovic, he will be taking on undefeated southpaw, 6'7", Dempsey McKean, and that will be on the Anthony Joshua Dillian Whyte Part 2 undercard. Quite why Filipovic hasn't had a fight in all this time, I have no idea. Of course, he's co-promoted by Aleksandar Wasserman and, of course, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. So why he hasn't had a fight in all this time, I don't know. Maybe he's been trying, but nobody wants to fight him. I don't know. But I knew about Filipovic against Dempsey McKean weeks and weeks ago, which is what I said to Aleksandar last week when I interviewed him. And why it's taken this long to announce it, I'm not too sure. I can only presume that they were looking for a headliner. Maybe they weren't confident that that particular fight is a good headliner. I don't know. But of course, Filipovic, he is the IBF mandatory. So is it a waste of a ranking, him being in the top 15 of WBC? Arguably. Okay. Now, other changes. Well, Aleksandar Filipovic has moved up to number 4. Of course, he defeated that fella last time out, which was on the Jared Anderson Charles Martin undercard, where he absolutely brutalised him, stopped him in round 2. Filipovic is a problem, man. He's a problem. So it's going to be interesting to see what Aleksandar Filipovic does next. Who's he going to fight? I'd like to see him fight Martin Bacoli. Honestly, I would. But is that going to happen? Probably not. Jared Anderson, number 7. He's moved up 2 positions. Of course, he defeated Charles Martin last time out in a win that was quite scrappy, quite ugly in that at times, and he got hurt at times as well. But hopefully he's learnt from that one. Now, Jared Anderson is tipped to be one of the next big things coming out of America in the heavyweight division. Could he be a future world champion? We'll have to wait and see. But obviously, that Charles Martin fight, a lot of people went, I'm off that rail right now. And I think Top Rank looked at that fight as well and said, okay, where we're talking about him fighting a Wilder or a Dillian Whyte or whatever within the next 12 months, this was several months ago, that's probably not going to happen now. Because now he's going to be taking on Andre Rudenko. Now, Rudenko is 35 wins, 60 defeats. I'm a little disappointed in this opponent, I will be honest. Now, Rudenko, he's only ever really lost to some of the top guys around. He has, like a Povetkin and Serenko recently, which is his only actual stoppage defeat. But he did actually lose to Lucas Brown. You know, I'm not... Yeah. And I say that because when you look at these rankings here, you've got number 9, Zhan Kosabuski, taking on number 14, FA Jagba. And that'll be the chief support to Jared Anderson versus Andre Rudenko. Now, Zhan Kosabuski was supposed to have been Jared Anderson's opponent, but there was some kind of visa issues, and Charles Martin was a late replacement. But luckily, Charles Martin is that identical replacement in some ways because he's tall and he's a southpaw, much like Zhan Kosabuski. So it was my understanding that they were actually going to reschedule that fight between Anderson and Kosabuski, but for some reason they haven't. And I'm going to presume because they feel like if that had been Kosabuski in there with Jared Anderson last time out and not Charles Martin, Kosabuski may have done him a lot of damage. It's very possible, right? So anyway, Kosabuski, he's going to take on FA Jagba. And that's a good yardstick as well to see where both of them are. And props to both Jagba and Kosabuski for taking that fight because that is a pick-em fight. It really is. We've seen FA Jagba lose before to Frank Sanchez. And FA Jagba, he's been in with some good undefeated prospects. He has, like Frank Sanchez, of course, as I said there, Ali Demirizian and quite a few others. And it appears that he's okay taking on other people in or around his level. And that's what you want in the heavyweight division. So big up to FA Jagba as well. But very interesting fight. It is a pick'em. We've seen a Jagba lose before to Frank Sanchez, as I said before. And we've seen him hit the canvas on a couple of occasions as well. I think it was Argo Kalaze. I think he actually dropped him to the canvas fine brightly. But anyway, good fight. Good fight. Number 8, Martin Bacoli. Don't know what's happened with him. Apparently it's going to be a big name fight next for him. I won't hold my breath on that one. I really won't. But it'd be good to see him in there with, say, a Otto Wallin, number 11. Why not? Even if a Ajit Kabiel, don't get me wrong, I'm not sold on that fight. I don't really rate Ajit Kabiel too high. But it's something. I mean, ideally, if we're to go on this list, then Bacoli versus Makhmudov would be perfect. But that won't happen. A Bacoli versus Frank Sanchez. But that won't happen. A Bacoli versus a Josie Parker. That may happen, but unlikely to happen. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Martin Bacoli does next. Now, is Martin Bacoli going to be the real deal? Is he a problem in the heavyweight division? We don't know. I mean, so far he's looked very good against other prospects, but I'd like to see him in there with one of these fighters. And I'm sure that he wants to. And I'm sure his trainer, Billy, would love his little cut of a big payday, right? So let's give it to him. Let's see how good Martin Bacoli is now. No more prospects or anything like that. Put him in there with somebody here. If Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz Jr. can't get a fight on together, why is nobody making an offer? Sky and Boxer should be making offers to these fighters. Legitimate offers. So, anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Number 3, Anthony Joshua. He's been taken on number 6, Dillian Whyte. Of course, most people will know that by now. On August the 12th, that will be at the O2 Arena. I think Eddie Hearn's regretting putting it on the O2 Arena. It could have been a stadium with how quick that fight sold out. So, again, that's probably a end-of-the-road fight for both of them. Because it's a hard claw back for either one of them if they were to lose to the other one. But I'm not saying that's what I want, and I don't believe that should happen. But it's probably going to be. So there's a lot of jeopardy in that particular fight. So big up to both of them two for taking that fight. Who else is fighting? Deontay Wilder and Ruiz Jr., are they still talking? They're going around in circles. As I said before earlier on the video, these guys should have fought any time from November. Well, sorry, not from November, but it was ordered in November, and the WBC should have given them a 90-day period to get the fight on. But they did nothing. And we're talking about 7-8 months now have passed, and they still haven't even signed to fight. This is what I mean by WBC. This is why people need to, or fighters need to boycott them. Because they don't care about you. They just don't care about you whatsoever. They're quite happy to take your money and maybe give you a crappy little trinket title to keep you on side, but for why? You know, just I mean, if I'm a heavyweight, ain't no way I'm paying a sanction fee to be ranked by WBC. Not a chance, because you're probably like 5 or even 10 years away from getting a world title shot. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's what's going on in the heavyweight division as far as the WBC is concerned. What's your thoughts about it? For me, it's not bad rankings. Of course, there's always room for improvement, but anyway, drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.